How the fuck did Kaffee rage bait the truth out of Jessup on a murder trial with no solid evidence, bringing the sentence down for these two men from 20 years to time already served? A Few Good Men is one of those courtroom classics that I actually watched after getting hooked on Better Call Saul. And it was this certain scene that floored me, because despite a large gaping hole in both their case and their star witness's head, Kaffee manages to pull off what feels like a magic trick to get Jessup to confess in front of everyone. So to try and make sense of all of this, I found that he uses one of the most powerful weapons that Jimmy utilized in the most diabolical prank on television, and 3 C's to ensure its effectiveness, with the first 2 enhancing the last one's blow. But I won't just tell you how they work, I'll also explain why this exact order was the reason Jessup cornered and eventually told the truth. But first, some context. If you haven't seen this film yet, this is Kaffee.
Fuck you, Harold!
Rolling a natural 20 on persuasion, Kaffee has the ability to bargain his way out of every case before it gets to court. Until one day he's told to defend these 2 men who were accused of poisoning and murdering Santiago, a fellow Marine. But they claim they were ordered by Colonel Jessup
to give Santiago a code red.
And this is Colonel Jessup, the personification of truth, justice, and the American way.
What I do want is for you to stand there in that faggoty white uniform and with your Harvard mouth extend me some fucking courtesy.
So now, Kaffee's forced into his first real trial, against a prosecution backed by 24 witnesses claiming Jessup ordered them not to touch Santiago. His only shot, putting Jessup himself on the stand. But with the colonel up for a huge promotion, accusing him without proof meant career suicide. So instead, they bank on their star witness, Markinson, the man who was in the room when Jessup gave the order. And with this, Kaffee's entire case now rests on one weapon: inconsistency. It's the same weapon Slip and Jimmy used to pull off one of the most diabolical pranks in TV history. A single numerical inconsistency that led to Chuck's suicide, with a prior inconsistent statement exposing Chuck's schizophrenia, dismantling his case. And according to attorney Dan Small from the Holland and Knight podcast, the reason this is so powerful is because it damages a person's credibility, making the court doubt the witness by undermining their entire testimony. Basically, pointing out inconsistency is the bullet that can save or end the case. But before Kaffee could fire that bullet, Markinson fired a real one on himself. So with his star witness gone and no cards left to play, Kaffee takes one more look at his 2 exposition devices, calls Jessup to the stand, and asks this.
You gave Lieutenant Kendrick an order, is that right?
I told Kendrick to tell his men that Santiago wasn't to be touched.
Did you give an order to Colonel Markinson as well?
I ordered Markinson to have Santiago transferred off the base immediately. I felt his life might be in danger once word of the letter got out.
Grave danger?
Is there another kind?
This was the first scene known as commit. Here, Kaffee gets the colonel to commit to their current version of the story. But pay attention to the way he asks these questions, because he's not asking Jessup what happened, rather he makes Jessup confirm certain parts of the story that he wants the jury to recall. What's even better is by getting Jessup to confirm all these questions, he makes the jury feel like the witness is confident in all the claims that have been made thus far. However, that false sense of confidence is actually a cage he can use to trap Jessup later. But how does he get him in the cage without him noticing? That's where the certain back and forth between the 2 come into play.
Any chance Lieutenant Kendrick ignored the order?
No.
When Lieutenant Kendrick spoke to the platoon, any chance they ignored him?
We follow orders or people die. It's that simple.
This was the second scene known as credit, where Kaffee credits previous mentions and claims, highlighting the gravity of orders as perceived by the Marines. And on the surface, it seems like it's going nowhere, but it actually does 2 things. First, it primes the jury, because as they hear Jessup yap on about how serious orders are in Gitmo, it takes root in their memory. And even Jessup himself is reminded of the significance of his words. But secondly, it's a vague enough topic that makes Jessup feel like he's still in control of the narrative. He even goes so far as to give a little speech to ascertain his power over Kaffee. But as Jessup feels like he's out of the danger zone, Kaffee pulls back the curtain, revealing that he's got him trapped in a cage by asking this.
If you gave an order that Santiago wasn't to be touched, and your orders are always followed, then why would Santiago be in danger? Why would it be necessary to transfer him off the base?
This was the third scene known as Confront, and if done right, it carries the same emotional weight as
Discombobulate.
No, as a magic trick. But yeah, that works too, because as Kaffee built certainty with commitment, then anticipation by crediting previous claims, when it's time for the resolution in the form of confrontation, the witness instinctively reacts to this with surprise and discomfort, leaving the audience with a reaction that kinda looks like this. This is because a prior inconsistent statement has now been brought to the surface, which means attempts to backtrack on their own answers can make the jury doubt the witness even more. And as Jessup feels the pressure mounting, Kaffee does a little trolling, which makes Jessup feel his authority slipping away. He then scrambles for any form of power he can salvage, answering one more question.
You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question.
Being the loudest in the room,
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
or admitting he was in control all along.
Did you order the code red? You're goddamn right I did!
And just like that, Kaffee manages to orchestrate one of the greatest courtroom scenes in film history, bringing the sentence of these two Marines down from 20 years to time already served, although having to be dishonorably discharged from the Marines, leaving us wondering if they really were